Guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My mic's working. This is why I don't judge. Uh, for one thing, there's a lot of information on YouTube. You can go through YouTube and go to, if you subscribe to any kind of tarot reader channels, they're all given a different story. Um, you know, there's really one thing in life that really protects you, and you don't really need protection. We're all immortal, right? This is just an experience. It's a dream within a dream. I love dreaming. I love going to sleep. I love dreaming. But I want to tell a story to kind of give some backdrop on why I understand what I do. I could say that it's a belief, but it really is an awareness and an understanding. And it's where, at the end of this video, I will give some prophetic testimony as to where the world's going because a lot of times people are just looking for some. The reason that those channels do so well is because uh, they're trying to give somebody, people are looking for some kind of, feeling that everything's going to be okay. And everything will be okay as long as you understand what I'm about to share with you. And it's why I don't judge, because if I judged myself, then I would be uh, in a much poorer state. Um, So when I was younger, I started dating somebody, oh, this is over 25 years ago, who had two young kids. And at the time they were 5 and 7, and a boy and a girl. And loved these kids. And I spent probably 2 or 3 years with them on and off. I dated her for a little while and then we separated and then I dated her again. But they never really had a father figure. Their father was um, not around. And so I wanted to be, the best dad I could to him. And, I asked her this, after we split up the first time. It's like, I'd still like to, spend time with the kids because, they don't have a dad. And I can, if that changes in the future and they, you get married to somebody and they have another father, it's great. I'd be more than happy, it's just having somebody there who really cares about you and just to spend time with. You don't have to be anything, just somebody that really loves you. And so she agreed because she knew my intent was in the right place. I didn't have any kind of, you know, uh, uh, false, any hidden agendas or anything like that. I've always loved taking care of kids and watching kids grow because I know how hard it can be. I've witnessed a lot of kids go through a lot of stuff when I was younger. We had foster kids and I saw things happen that were very unhealthy. So I, developed a relationship with these kids. And man, I had some knockdown, drag outs fights with Corbin, the boy, because he was severely emotionally traumatized from a very young age. And it happened, emotional traumas come down from family lineages and a lot of different aspects. And, um, if we're all products of our environment. So, we tried to make him feel loved as well as I could. But at that age, this is 25 years ago. I wasn't able to communicate the way that I cared about somebody same way that I am now. And it's still changing. But in order to get closer to one another and to communicate well to one another and to love one another, you really have to be able to communicate the way you feel and don't hold anybody in judgment for whatever they're going through. And a lot of times, people reach poisonous situations in their own lives. And the only way that you can do is say, hey, I love you, but I have to get myself away from this because it's just not healthy for me. Um, when he was younger, after his mom and I had been split up for 3 or 4 years, I think it's 5 years, I got married to someone else, and he hated her, just hated her guts. And I we had a boy together. She had already had a young girl, so I had one boy, and I know that Corbin, felt as though you know, in some ways I didn't love him because I married this girl and I had you know, a biological son of my own. And I know I had this conversation when he was younger, and I said, you know, nothing will ever replace you. You know, you're unique, and you know, I love you just as much as I love your sister, as I love my boy, but it never stuck. Um, and he got to a place at when he was getting older, and he was in high school. Oh, this was probably, you know, maybe 2010 or something like that. And he had a girlfriend, and their family moved down to Klamath Falls. They moved away from us, from where we lived with here. And I got one last phone call from him, and he was super toxic. He blamed me for, you know, the way he felt, and I tried to explain it to him. You know, I can't help but realize in that conversation the way I was back then is I was defensive, and I shouldn't have been defensive. I didn't have anything to defend. I honestly tried to love him as well as I could. And so we didn't hear from him for a while after that. And I heard that he wasn't, you know, that he was, his sister had started to finally talk to him a little bit back, you know, oh, this is, you know, 8, 9 years ago. Maybe it was 8 years ago. And um, I think it was before my mom died. I can't remember. It was right around that time. Uh, and you know, I said, yeah, tell him that I'd love to hear from him. I'd like to talk to him. And he did. He finally called me, and we talked for a little while, and I could tell that he was really self-conscious about where he was at. And you know, and thinking about that conversation, I think probably could have done a better job at telling him how much I cared about him and how much it didn't matter to me, you know, how well he was doing or not doing it. That he always had a home here, and I would love it. I really wanted to see him again. And I said that. I remember I said that in the conversation. It's like, I'd love to come down and see you. You just, you know, give me a place to go. I hadn't seen him in 8 years or so. And so uh, he that was the last time I talked to him. About a month and a half after that, he died. And that was the last time I spoke to him. Uh, you know, when something like that happens, you rethink all of that stuff and all of your interactions with somebody. It's like, what could I have done to help pull him closer so we were more of a family? And you start to shed all that stuff, the toxic behavior, you know, where you think that everybody's out to get you or they don't like you in some way. And um, I I know that it, you know, for one thing, you can't judge. You can't judge the path of a soul, especially your own, and where it's going and what it's doing. But I know that from my own personal experience is that if you fall into judgment, then it'll always um, a will keep you from loving yourself for what you don't understand. And there's so much that we don't understand. There's so much that people, you know, think that they need to protect themselves of. And if you're feeling like you need to protect yourself, then there's a part of you that doesn't feel immortal. You're a part of all of this. You can't be destroyed. And so the only thing that really comes to the basis of who we are is our love for one another. And this is why the spiritual practice is always to do what you're asked. Just what do you need? And sometimes you just need somebody to be there for you. And if you're doing that for profit, then it can grow pretty toxic pretty fast. Be open to receive. if you can just be open to receive and don't have any kind of a hidden agenda. My only agenda is to grow closer to you so that we can do things together, right? Spend time together, build something together. I have no agenda. I don't want some leadership role or, I don't care about any of that stuff. And this has been the biggest struggle for me personally, because I know that I love myself unconditionally. And I made mistakes in my past as far as communicating my how much I love for the people around me and things like that. But if I judged myself unworthy, then that would continue down the road. And there's so many people looking for guidance and wanting to feel okay. Well, I'm here to tell you, you are your own guide and your ability to communicate your love to the people around you and just do what you're asked. And if people don't want to, feel that way and return that, then communicate it. Say, hey, look, I would do anything for you. I'd give everything that I have for you. But if you can't do the same for me, then I don't think we can, you know, keep traveling down this road together. It would be something, there's no way that you can express how important it is to be able to get to that state. Yeah. And so here on the second part of this video, we can look into that's basically what the human collective is going through right now. If you haven't noticed, you have a giant resource battles going on. It's just resource wars over and over and over and over. And we're living in an age where so many big corporate entities have collected so much of the wealth from the consumer market. Consumers got nothing left to give. And if you're going to work for a business that's super toxic and you're unhappy, your level of production is going down and down and down. Inflation's going up. So those businesses are laying people off to hoard resources because nobody's productive. And the way that they're working their business is not productive. And no amount of coaching is fixing it because it's not structured correctly. It's not structured like a healthy organism. When we look at the world and just think about how nature works, old structures break down and they get pulled apart and then they go into the soil and then something new emerges but it's cohesive. It's a group of cells that have homeostasis between them. It means that they're in a homeostatic state of being where the energy that they give and receive between one another is equal. And if it's not, it grows cancerous. It starts pulling energy towards from the surrounding cells and then growing a cancer spot. And it keeps pulling more energy until the body can use antibodies to flush it out of the body. And if your awareness doesn't grow to see where to get rid of the cancer, starts energetically, then body dies. And then it becomes food for something new. Part of nature. It's not evil. There is no such thing as good or evil. There is only healthy homeostasis and parasiticism. And most of what we see in the world, even in nature, most of nature is fairly parasitic upon itself. That's why Jesus gave the messages that he did, and why prayer and fasting is so important. Because for one thing, you're getting to expanding your awareness in your meditative states, and by fasting, you're not staying attached to anything, and you move through emotional boundaries to get to places where you normally wouldn't have. And in order to be homeostatic between, the people that we're working with, it's pretty tough. One thing, people have to be in their childlike energy and be willing to create and receive naturally. which means you can't have attachments to what you should be getting because of your mind will create all kinds of things. I mean, imagine the healthiest societies where everybody is sharing in the creations of one another. I mean, we can nurture toxicity to death. And I've tried to explain that in the coaching community as much as possible. It is important to be nurturing, but you can't nurture toxicity. If you do that, and what is toxicity? It's when communication breaks down and you're unable to communicate and love the people around you in a healthy way. I mean, ideally, we'd be structure ourselves like DNA, groups of 10 or 12, all connected in parallel, and let everybody self-manage. I should never need to try and control anybody. And and as long as I don't try to do that, as long as I don't try to do that, then I don't need to try and protect myself because I love that person unconditionally. I see a lot of protection stuff on YouTube, and if you believe you need to protect yourself from something out there, then you don't understand that there is no good and evil. You just have to expand your awareness and see where people are trying to siphon your energy in ways that are just unnatural. I mean, I'll give you an example. And maybe, you could call this protection or whatever. But I had somebody reach out to me that said they want to be a book agent and market my book to traditional publishers. Happens all the time. And I tried to verify his identity. He was calling himself John Mass as a literary agent on LinkedIn. So I looked up his profile and he was connected to a literary agency. And I said, all right. So I sent him a note. I said, if you could respond to my direct message on LinkedIn, I'd love to talk to you. And of course, he never did. And instead, I get an email today. This happened today. Um, hey, I went ahead and, sent your stuff over to, Penguin Publishing Group. And they're willing to give you this contract for blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, oh, God. And then I got a phone call from the guy that claimed that he was from Penguin, Abraham something. And then so I direct messages him on LinkedIn. And then I told him, I said, that's what I did. I said, so I direct messaged you on LinkedIn and to verify your identity. If you could please kindly respond to my reach out, I'd love to talk to you. And of course, I'm not going to hear squat from that guy. I cannot believe how many people are trying to scam authors right now. It's disgusting. And why are they doing that? Because they have unhealthy attachments. You have to expand your awareness and see where people are at. And if you don't move away from that energy, then that toxicity kills the body. You have to move away from it. It's just toxic. It's just they're killing themselves, but they'll kill you with them if they can get away with it. And that goes with the whole thing. Until people figure this out, you know, the Revelation in the Bible is a very accurate book. And if you understand it, then eventually you'll have 144,000 people that get to a certain state of awareness and go, okay, let's just get out of here. Let's go. Right? And then people will, there'll be enough entities that just throw enough resources at them. Okay, you build Eden here. Because if you understand how to build heaven on earth, it's a no-brainer. I'll have to string this video together with the last one. That was my dentist calling me just from an issue that just getting a letter of medical necessity because they sold me a water pick and they recommended a water pick for me, to clean my teeth. So I have pretty teeth. Take care of yourself. This is a message because you love yourself. You really want to take care of yourself if you care about yourself. And anyway, you know, I understand and that we kill ourselves unconsciously. in blindness. And that's why I don't judge, but you still have to have the awareness to move away from things that are killing us. And if I was to tell you in any way that I somehow have something that you don't, I would be lying to you. Only thing that changes over time is awareness. And all of us have an infinite potential to expand our awareness. And it expands more if we can come into homeostasis with each other and create a state of being that is healing for one another. What can I do for you? Just what do you need? I would love to take care of you as long as you're doing the same for me. Love you guys. This is a fairly simple message, but it was something that's close to my heart because obviously I've seen family members die. I've seen friends go through horrible pain because they were in conflict with one another and their communication broke down and chains of communication broke down where they were not present. Their mind was somewhere else. And it's really important to be able to love yourself and be present and listen to what's going on around you and see the bigger picture. It's just part of nature. Natural law always pervades. And that the truth is that we don't really need to protect ourselves in as though we are immortal, but choose a better life for ourselves based on people's self-awareness. And the last thing I want is to tell somebody that I am something that they are not, because it's not true. Love you guys. Have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you on the next one.